Hi everyone. Thank you for being a part of Microsoft 365 Friday, California 2021. And I'm very super excited to be a part of this wonderful virtual event. It's a great to have this opportunity, and I want to thank the organizers to align me here to share a few things what I know about the Azure DevOps, where you can use continuous integration and continuous deployment for SPFX web parts or the extensions. And thank you all the sponsors for helping the community and making this event a grand success. In this session, I'm going to talk about how to use Azure CI/CD for SharePoint framework solutions. Either you are working with client-side web part or an extensions. So this session also covers how you would deploy SPFX code from GitHub repos to SharePoint Online using Azure DevOps pipelines. And the takeaway from this session would be that what products you are required and supported in this solution, as you know that as a developer, what things you should be aware when you are planning to use this Azure DevOps, as well as a quick walkthrough on the process itself with the demo. So I'll explain you everything with the demo. So before I jump into that, I just wanted to briefly give you a better introduction to who I am. So my name is Kirti Prajapati and I am a Microsoft MVP MCT and working as an independent modern workplace consultant. I have been working with SharePoint since 2007, so it is more than a decade now working with SharePoint and work with different flavors of SharePoint. And by trade, I would call myself a SharePoint consultant and developer. However, I'm also call myself an evangelist because I like to talk about and encourage the usage of Microsoft and Microsoft 365 and SharePoint. I have been speaking in the local and international community events uh, uh, and conferences, and I'm very passionate to share my knowledge in all possible ways. So, and I'm also evangelize my thoughts on SharePoint on my blog, and I'm also involved in some kind of ebooks writing and providing SharePoint, Office 365, and Azure training to the corporate people. And along with that, I am an organizer of M365 Ahmedabad user group, and under this user group, we are also organizing such events like Microsoft 365 Global Bootcamp, then Global Power Platform Bootcamp, SharePoint Saturdays, and to help the community, we are also organizing a few of the workshops which helps them to understand the cutting edge technology released by the Microsoft. So today I'm going to talk about few things on an overview of DevOps. So an overview of DevOps, which will cover what is DevOps and a few key features of it, along with how it is different from traditional IT and why it is required. And then I'll explain few things about DevOps lifecycle because it is necessary to understand what the different phases are while we are using DevOps because DevOps defines an agile relationship between development and operations. So it is the process practiced by the development team and the operational engineers together from beginning to the final stage of the product. So it's a whole life cycle I will explain. And understanding DevOps is not complete without understanding the DevOps lifecycle phases. So it is better that you understand what are the different phases available when you are thinking to implement DevOps. And after that, in Azure DevOps, I will explain what is Azure DevOps and why should you care about it. So because Azure DevOps has a lot of inbuilt functionality that allows your team to get up and running with managing their project and automating their workflows to increase the productivity with a very short initial learning curve. So that will help them to increase the productivity. And then we'll see how Azure DevOps works with the SharePoint framework. So I have been working with SPFX solutions for a long, and during the development and deployment, I feel it is very difficult to maintain their integrity as they grow. As you know that if it's a simple custom web part or custom solution you're working with using SPFX, then it is very easy to manage. But what if your code grows day by day, right? So, and of course, there are more than one people working in the same solution. So, uh, when you have a team working on the same SPFX solution, it is quite challenging to manage the continuous development efforts, testing, and deployment of the latest release packages, right? So to avoid that kind of manual process, it is better to have an automated process. So I will explain that few things, how you can create the web part and how you can initiate the pipelines in Azure DevOps for SPFX. And then I'll show you everything in the demo. So having this chance of prevalence, it gave me the idea to share the lessons learned from building this successful delivered project from a DevOps perspective. And I will demo how to set up this CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment, which can help you to automate the process for your SPFX solutions. So let's begin with an overview of DevOps. So what is DevOps? So we can say DevOps is a combination of two words that could be development and operations, right? Or we can say it is the combination of different practices, tools, and philosophies that could enable your rapid development and deployment of enterprise and these consumer applications. So it's a kind of combination. And then we can consider a practice that will allow a single team to manage their entire application development lifecycle. And in development lifecycle, you can consider your writing the code, testing it, deploying it, and certain operations. So, in short, DevOps combines and merges the development team and IT operational teams to work closely in the application lifecycle, and they share their skills and involved from development through testing into the deployment of the application. So both the team are working together to accomplish their tasks, and quality assurance and security teams are also tightly integrated and work with the DevOps teams. If you need some certain kind of security measurement or quality assurance, then that team can also involved in this. In DevOps teams uses practices to automate all development and operations processes. Whatever the processes we are planning to have, that could be automated by your DevOps teams. And then I can consider that promotes collaboration. This helps to promote collaboration between development and operations teams. Using that, you can deploy your code to production faster in an automated and repeatable way. So in DevOps, the technology stack and the tooling are reliable and evolve quickly, and that will help engineers to accomplish tasks very quickly. Let's say, for example, continuous deployment of code from GitHub. Normally, this would have required help from other team, but as a DevOps integrate this into a single unit, this will definitely increases the development velocity. I'll show you that how to use the GitHub, and you can commit your code. And then we can say as a summary of that, like is the union of people, like people in that in sense your development and operation team, and process. So process might be your development and server setups, and then you can consider product to enable continuous delivery. So this is what we can consider in what is DevOps. So this is just a brief about what is DevOps, and now let me jump into that why DevOps is required. So this would be the main thing that why we are thinking about having DevOps and why we want to implement it. So uh, as I mentioned in the beginning, that DevOps is a management culture that improves the IT service. It could be your delivery agility, and that is based on your communication, collaboration, and integration. How your solution communicated, collaborated, and integrated with other systems. So it is a kind of platform that identifies the relationship between various tools, then ideas and themes of software development and IT operations. Using this rapid iterations and continuous improvement. So you can consider different component here. Now the point is, there were a lot of challenges when we consider the traditional waterfall model instead of DevOps. Think about the waterfall model as a developer point of view. So what happens when we were using that? So after development, the code deployment time was huge. Like we might need to take a kind of window to deploy the code on production server, and the pressure of work on old, pending, and new code was very high because development and deployment time was high. On the other hand, operations was also not completely satisfied. Like it was difficult to maintain 100% uptime of the production environment while we are planning to deploy something. And along with that, infrastructure automation tools were not very effective. So the number of servers, again, the number of servers to be monitored keeps on increasing with the time and hence the complexity. So it may happen that initially you have one or two servers, but going forward, as your application grows, then you might need to manage more servers. So it is very difficult to manage in waterfall model. So let me give you an example of how DevOps brings great changes to compare to the traditional waterfall model. Let's say for an example, the application is fresh launch and the process of buying servers to ship the code has just started and scheduled to go live for application in like a couple of weeks. And the development team has done 75% of the code. So after placing an order for the required servers, what happens in the waterfall model? So that the development team works on testing and the operation team work on extensive paperwork as required in enterprises to deploy the infrastructure for the newly involved servers. Whereas what happens in DevOps? So development and operations team work together on the paperwork to set up the new servers. So this results in a better visibility of the infrastructure requirements. So after implementing that, the developer team should not ask that, okay, we are missing this server and we need these resources to develop or achieve this functionality. And in the waterfall model process also, you can consider the operations team has no clue about the progress of the development team. So they are not tightly integrated with the team, and the operations teams develop a monitoring plan as per their understanding. So the gap of communication is there. Now what happens in DevOps? So the operations team is completely aware of the progress the developments are making, and operations team interact with developers and jointly develop a monitoring plan that caters to the IT and business needs. So they can definitely have something to as a collaborative mode and achieve something on that. So based on this, I can say that the teamwork is in complete isolation. We can consider that. Before DevOps, the development and operation team worked in complete isolation. And using this, we can improve collaboration with DevOps and a single combined platform where developers and operations team collaborate easily, and they are no longer isolated from each other and share their responsibilities and feedbacks on one platform. So that is one point. And the second is testing and deployment were isolated activities. So it has been done after design and build, hence they consume more time than actual build cycles. So by rapid delivery, DevOps combines tools and all processes in the cloud. So starting from developing the apps and testing it in the cloud by using automated tools, and using that they can deploy as soon as the code commit happens in whatever the repository you are using. And because of this will help to enable the rapid delivery. And again, the third point is the time consuming. So without using DevOps, team members are spending a large amount of their time in testing, deploying, and designing instead of building the project. So we can consider as a speed. So in DevOps, microservices and continuous delivery allowed teams to take ownership of services and then release updates to them faster. So they can release the updates easily. And It is also very much reliable because monitoring and logging practices help you stay informed of performance in real time. So you can check or monitoring everything from single platform. And then manual code deployment leads to human errors in production. So most of the time that uh, it happens that manual code deployment missed out some file to move from your UAT or some other server to production. So that we can avoid. And separate timelines for development and operations teams. So coding and operation teams have their separate timelines and are not in sync, causing further delays for the production deployment. So using this by-scaling feature infrastructure as code that help you to manage your development, testing, and production environments in a repeatable and more efficient manner. And if you can consider as a security in terms of security, so automated compliances policies, fine-grained controls, and configuration management techniques can define, and then you can track these compliances at very large scale. So these are the few points that we can consider why we need DevOps. So I think that help us to understand what we can achieve when we are thinking about the DevOps. So now I'll jump into that how the DevOps lifecycle look alike. So as I mentioned earlier that DevOps is a deep integration between development and operations. Along with that, it is a software development approach through which superior quality software can be developed very quickly and with more reliability. So to understand DevOps is not possible without knowing the DevOps life cycle. So let's jump into that. So let's assume that I'm just keeping one scenario here to understand how this DevOps life cycle work. So let's assume your marketing and sales team gets an idea from market on some product, and they are interested to build. So based on their research, they will prepare a business plan and share the details with the technical team for further planning. The planning team will decide like what the development architecture and development architecture required and share the details with the development team, and the development team will identify the suitable source control this IDE environment to write code and build the solution. And once they are done with the development, then the testing team will be involved to test the application, and after passing all the test scenarios, an application will be moved to production. So after that, there are chances to get some feedback from the actual users who are actually using this product, or you can get something more input from marketing and sales teams after launching the product into the market. Now, in this scenario, it is very difficult to do the changes or enhance the functionality based on specific input if not use the DevOps. So there are various phases such as continuous development, continuous integration, continuous testing, continuous deployment, and continuous monitoring, which constitute this DevOps lifecycle. So, in short, we need a kind of a development approach using which we can start this small changes and update the code, release that code, let the user use that. So this we can achieve using this DevOps lifecycle. Now let us have a look at each of the different phases of DevOps lifecycle one by one. So as I mentioned that DevOps lifecycle has different phases. So there are 7 phases in the lifecycle. As I mentioned that continuous development, continuous integration, testing, delivery, feedback, deployment, and continuous operations. So let's discuss each of these DevOps lifecycle phases now. So first, continuous deployment, which can you can consider that which can combine your plan application objectives and code the requirement that comes under this phase. So this is the phase that involves planning and coding of the software. or your solution. The vision of the project is decided during the planning phase, and the developers begin developing the code for the application. So there are no DevOps tools that are required for planning, but there are several tools for managing the code. So you can use any tool if you want to start planning for your application or the solution or the product or the software. The code can be written in any language and maintained by using any version control tools, and can be used in this phase for building or packaging the code into an executable file. So uh, that way you can consider that. And then we can say continuous testing that will help you to build your solution and test your solution. So this is the stage where the the developed software is continuously tested for whatever the bugs the QA team is finding, and the testing process checks the actual use of an application in the DevOps. So testers or the QA team produce results while still ensure that application can have its intended use in a live environment. So it should not hamper the live application. And the testing process gives more information about different aspects of an application that in turn is sent to the development process to improve the application. So they can put anything and that could return to the development team to fix that. And then we can say it's a continuous integration, the third point. So this is the stage where the new functionality is integrated with the prevailing code and testing take place. And continuous development is only possible due to continuous integration and testing. Without that, continuous development is not possible. So this stage is the heart of the entire DevOps lifecycle, we can say. It is a software development practice in which the developers required to commit changes to the source code more frequently. And this may be on a daily or weekly basis, like you can define a time frame where you can check in the code. So, or every commit is then built, and this allows early detection of problems if they are present. So, the code you are writing supporting new functionality is continuously integrated with the existing code. So you can say that there is a continuous development of software. The updated code needs to be integrated continuously as well as smoothly with the system to reflect the changes, right? So then it moves to the continuous deployment. So in this phase, the deployment process takes place continuously, and it is performed in such a manner that any changes, whatever the changes has been made anytime in the code, should not affect the functioning of a high traffic website. It should not break anything on your live environment. So this is the stage where the code is deployed to the production servers, and it is also important to ensure that the code is correctly deployed on all the servers. Since the new code is deployed continuously, or configuration management tools play an important role in executing the task, whatever the task you have mentioned while deploying the solution. So after that, you can consider that you need to monitor this updated code continuously. So in this phase, the operation team will take care of the inappropriate system behavior or bugs that are found in production. And this is very crucial stage of the DevOps lifecycle where you continuously monitor the performance of your application. Like because of the latest code deployment, some things should not be broken on the live application, or the performance issue should not be there. So here vital information about the use of the software is recorded. So you can identify if any issues, and the root cause of any issues you can determine in this phase. And it maintains the security and availability of the services you have in your application. So you can have the different tools which can help you to monitor the applications. Using that, you can find the performance and the server very closely, and also enable you to check the health of the system proactively. So any major issues, if you found, are reported to the development team, so that it can be fixed in the continuous development phase. and this leads to a faster resolution of the problems, and then it goes to the continuous development phase. So this is how the all 7 steps or 7 stages include when you are thinking about the DevOps life cycle. So this is one point we can consider. Now, here is the different represent of the DevOps life cycle I have prepared. This is a common one we are using for most of the applications. So these DevOps stages are carried out on loop continuously till you achieve the desired product quality. Therefore, almost all the major IT companies have shifted to DevOps for building their product because they want to achieve something in a rapidly and productive way. So now I'll explain what can be achieved using Azure DevOps. So these are the two different images you can consider when you're thinking about the DevOps lifecycle. Now, jumping into the Azure DevOps. So after the launch of Azure DevOps, DevOps has become increasingly critical to a team's success. So you can say this is the evolution of VSTS, Visual Studio Team Services. In the simplest terms, that Azure DevOps is the evolution of VSTS. And then we can consider that it spans the breadth of the development life cycle, which can help developers to ship software very faster and with higher quality. And they represent the most complete offering the public cloud. So DevOps brings together, as I mentioned earlier, the people, process, and technology, automating software delivery to provide continuous value to your users. In other words, it enables any developer to ship customer value faster, more reliable, and with better quality. And then you can consider that a lot of inbuilt functionality. So Azure DevOps has a lot of inbuilt functionality that allows teams to get up and running with managing their project and automating their workflows, which can help to increase productivity with a very short initial learning curve. So there is no need to spend more time to understand how this process will work. And then you can get Azure board, the functionality of the get this Azure boards, Azure repos, Azure pipelines, Azure test plans, and Azure artifacts. So this is the result of years of using their tools and developing a process which can build and deliver product efficiently and effective, right? So these are the subcomponents you can use when you are thinking about the Azure DevOps. Now, here I will explain briefly about what we get with Azure DevOps. Like, so if you go with the Azure Boards, then Azure Boards is your ultimate built-in agile project planning and management tool, and it has all the functionality you would expect to find in a standalone piece of software with the ability to link work items and tasks with your pipelines. So you can use the Azure boards to achieve that. And then we have the Azure repos. So this will provide you the unlimited Git repositories. You can create a project in Azure DevOps and create as many repositories as you need and collaborate with your team members to build code with pull request and advanced file management. And then we have the Azure pipelines. So pipelines within Azure DevOps is the CI/CD tool that allows the building, testing, and deployment of code using DevOps practices. So you spend less time with the nuts and bolts and more time being creative. And then we have the Azure test plan. So you can use Azure test plans to run manual test for your web and desktop applications and log defects. And you can also track and assess quality throughout your testing lifecycle. That can help you to get end-to-end traceability and also improve your code quality using planned and exploratory testing services for apps. And using Azure Artifacts, you can add fully integrated package management to your CI/CD pipelines with a single click. And Azure Artifacts help you to create and share NPM and NuGet package fields from public and private sources that can fully integrate it into CI/CD pipeline. So this is all about Azure DevOps. Now we'll see how Azure DevOps help in SharePoint framework solution. So let's say, for example, you are creating a solution or project using SharePoint framework. Then you are pushing your or committing your code to GitHub. Then you are creating required Azure pipelines that allow the build, testing, and deployment of the code. So we can spend less time with configuration and more time being creative. And after that, you can use PNP Office 365 CLI command to push your code or push your solution package and other artifacts from source to destination server or destination tenant. So in our case, consider Office 365 or M365 portal would be source and destination. And the source could be your development server, or destination could be your QA, UAT, or production servers. So this is the process that will define that once you are creating the solution, and then how it will move from your development system to your SharePoint site. Right, so let's jump into the demo and I'll show you that how we can move that. So for this demo, I have just created a sample web part in the interest of time. So you can see this is a Visual Studio Code where I have created a client-side web part using SPFX, and I am using this GitHub repo desktop version just to commit or push my changes from this system to GitHub repository. And this is my SharePoint site where I will deploy my web part. So you can see here I have already deployed one web part, and you can see the text will do some changes in the text, and once I commit the code, push it to the GitHub repo, then start the pipelines and releases, then my solution package will be deployed in App Catalog, and then it will also add this updated code, or I can see the reflected I can see the updated code in this web part. Right, so this is the process and the tools I have used for this one. So let's jump into this pipeline first. So here you can see I have created a couple of let me explain you. So first you need to log in into Azure DevOps. So I'm not jumping into that the basic steps. I assume that you know that how to create the project in Azure DevOps and use the repos. So first we need to create the pipeline. So I have just created this one, and if you click on edit, then here we need to define like what are the steps you want to perform, right? So if we click on the get sources, then you can see I have selected GitHub for this demo, and I'm just selecting this M365 VM repo from my GitHub account. So this is my GitHub account and this is my repo. I am selecting as a source in this pipeline, and these are the default settings that you can perform here. Now, now you have to create an agent. So you can select on this ellipsis and click on add an agent job. And then once you have the agent, you can add different tasks. So these are the same tasks we are executing the commands when we are building the SPFX solution. So first we are installing this, we are using the node version. So I'm using 8.x. Then we are using the npm install. So you can see this command, install command I'm using. So this will use the, install the npm. Then I'm just using the gulp command to bundle my solution. So this is the command I'm using. And then I'm just preparing the package solution. So this is the task using this command I'm achieving. And then I want to copy these artifacts into this intermediate folder called drop. and then I will publish this pipeline artifacts to my pipeline. So once this successfully completed, then I will be able to see everything into my release. Right? So let me jump into the code, and I'm just updating something here. Welcome to Microsoft 365 California, and I'm just updating. Thanks for joining this session. And I'm just saving this, and from Visual Studio Code itself you can see here source control. So I can just commit these changes like thanks comment, and I'm just committing my changes. So once this commit done, I can just open this GitHub desktop, and you can see I can see one push commit to original remote. So you have one local commit waiting to be pushed to GitHub. So once I push this, my code will be available in GitHub, and my GitHub repository will be used as a source in this pipeline here. Get source here. You can see this one. So let me open this repo and refresh it. Yeah, so once the code is available, then we can move this to uh, from, let me run to this pipeline now. So I'm just moving to this pipeline and opening this and running it. Run pipeline, click on run. So as of now, I'm just doing this everything manually because you understand that how this process works. So once you are running this pipeline, it will automatically create the task number. So I'm just clicking on the agent job one so we can see what is going on. It will explain that what set of different commands executed, what the set of commands we have written for as a task for agent job one. It will take a while because it will check that your code is checked out or checked in, then it will use the node version, whatever the node version we have defined. Then it will start installation. You can see use node. Now it is starting npm installation. Then after installation, it will try to uh, bundle this solution, and we are using zip command, dash dash zip option. So it will prepare a kind of artifacts files over there. So this might take a couple of minutes to execute all the tasks. And once we are done with this, and then we can see that uh, we can just create new release from the releases, and then we can execute that. So meanwhile, I can just explain you what are the steps I have covered in this release. So let me jump into the release and click on that, edit. So I have created one artifacts called M365 VM-CI, and this is my stage, development stage, where I have defined 5 tasks. So what my agent will do, agent will select the Azure pipelines as a source or agent pool, and the same type of command set I have used, like using node 8.x npm custom. So I'm just using the custom command. So you can see this install -g pnp office 365 CLI. I am using this, and after that I'm trying to connect my app catalog. So this is the command to connect with app catalog. Now here I have used this $tenant dollar catalog site. So these are the variables you can use. So those are the variables. Then after that you can just add the solution package to your app catalog file. So again, this is the command you have to follow. And after that, you can deploy it into your tenant, the catalog site. So first you need to connect to app catalog, add your solution and deploy it. So these are the steps I have covered in this development. So let me see where we are. So it is still bundling the solution. Yeah, now preparing the package. So main thing is you just need to follow the steps. You are manually trying to build your solution and creating the package file in your SPFX client-side web part or extension. So the same the same thing we have applied here, right? So the pipeline is successfully executed. Now let me create new release, and I'm just clicking on create. Yeah, and I'm also receiving an email. You can see this build. This build has been successfully executed without any errors and warnings. So that way you can also notify where you are in terms of this release. And then here you can also see that this will also execute this set of commands. So in pipeline, all the artifacts are deployed in copied into this drop folder. Now it is trying to download it, and then we will use npm custom command where we are trying to use these artifacts, and then it will try to connect to app catalog. So once this process done, you can see this demo client side web part. Let me refresh it. So you can see the latest client side web part will be this one, will be automatically available in app catalog, and you can see the changes here because I have already added the web part on this portal. So you can see the updated text in this web part as well. So let's see where we are. Yeah, so deploying. Okay, so it is done now. So I'm just refreshing this, and you can see instead of 7 hours, you can see a minute ago or in a while. Right, so you can see that this is deployed a few seconds ago. Now I'm just refreshing this page, so you can see this the text which we have updated, like thanks for joining this session, it will be automatically reflected here. So I'm just refreshing the page, and you can see that our text is here. Thanks for joining this session. So here there is no need to do anything manually, but you can also automate this process. Once your pipeline build pipeline is successfully executed, then your release will be automatically start, and you can execute your code from your one server to, or deploy your solution from one server to another server. So that is there. And now let me move to the demo. Yeah, so this is all about that. And if you want to refer something or learn something about the Azure DevOps, and these are the links as a reference you can consider, and you will get more insights on how to use the Azure DevOps and what are the other component you can use while you are thinking about implementing CI/CD with Azure DevOps. And if you want to get in touch with me, then this is the information. We'll be in touch, and I will be more than happy to help you out or connect with you. Thank you.